All right, Steelers Nation, buckle up, because what's coming today might be one of the most intense breakdowns we've ever done. We're diving deep into one of the hottest, most controversial predictions of the offseason, and yes, it comes from none other than ESPN's Dan Orlovsky. According to him, the Pittsburgh Steelers are staring a brutal 0-6 start dead in the face. If Mason Rudolph is named the starting quarterback for Week 1, you heard that right. 0 wins, 6 losses to kick off the 2025 season. Now, we're not just going to take that sitting down. We're going to unpack this. Prediction, look at the schedule, evaluate the roster, and figure out if there's any truth to this, or if it's just another offseason overreaction. So let's rewind and take a look at exactly what Dan Orlovsky said. His words were pretty blunt. He said, and I'll quote, "I think they're staring 0-6 in the face if Mason Rudolph starts the season as QB1. That's a bold statement. Let's be honest. Anytime someone throws out that a team will lose its first 6 games, it raises eyebrows. But when it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the most stable and historically competitive franchises in the league, it hits a little different. Now, just to frame this right, let's walk through those first 6 games. Week 1, it's the Jets on the road. Week 2, home opener against the Seahawks. Then a trip to Foxborough to take on the Patriots in Week 3. After that, a neutral site showdown in Dublin against the Vikings. Then a home game against the Browns in Week 6. And finally, a road test in Cincinnati against the Bengals in Week 7. That's 6 tough matchups, no doubt, but let's not act like the Steelers are walking into a buzzsaw every single week. There are winnable games in that stretch, more than one. Now, sure, if Mason Rudolph ends up under center, nobody's pretending he's Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. But let's not forget, this guy's not exactly a scrub. He's got a winning record as a starting quarterback for Pittsburgh. His career record with the team is 12 wins, 9 losses, and 1 tie. That doesn't scream elite, but it also doesn't scream 0-6. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. And even if we want to play the hypothetical game and say that the Steelers do go 2-4 in that stretch, okay, that's not great, but it's not the end of the world either. Especially not for a franchise that's made a habit of finding ways to stay competitive no matter who's taking snaps. This team won 10 games just 2 seasons ago using a rotation of Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and yes, Mason Rudolph. So don't tell me that winning 10 games with a steady run game, tough defense, and a quarterback who doesn't beat himself is some kind of fantasy. Now that brings us to the heart of Orlovsky's argument, and honestly, is one worth considering. He's not necessarily saying the Steelers will be bad with Mason Rudolph. He's saying they'll be limited, that the ceiling with Rudolph under center is low. And that's a fair point, because even in his best moments, Mason has never looked like a guy who could carry a team deep into January. He can manage a game, maybe pull off a win or two with a strong supporting cast, but when it's playoff time, when the lights get brighter and the pressure ramps up, you need a quarterback who can take over. And Rudolph just isn't that guy. We saw it in that playoff game against the Bills. He completed barely half of his passes and struggled to move the offense consistently. That kind of performance isn't going to get it done in the postseason. That's not a knock on him personally. It's just a reflection of what he's shown us so far in his career. He's a solid backup, a dependable stopgap, but he's not the kind of player you hitch your Super Bowl hopes to. And that brings us to the other name that's been heating up the rumor mill in a big way. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, you heard me right. There are multiple credible reports from around the league saying that it's not a matter of if Rodgers signs with the Steelers, it's a matter of when. Huge names in the NFL media world are weighing in on this. Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, Mike Florio, Tom Pelissero, all saying the same thing. The momentum is real. The connections are real. And it feels like we're just waiting for Rodgers to pull the trigger. Let's put this into perspective. Rodgers has taken one official visit this offseason. Just one. And it wasn't to the Jets. It wasn't to the Raiders. It wasn't to a Florida retirement community. It was to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That alone should tell you something. And on top of that, he's been seen throwing with none other than DK Metcalf, who, if you haven't been keeping track, is now a member of the Steelers. And Pittsburgh's offseason moves, let's just say they're aligning suspiciously well with what a team would do if they were planning to bring in a veteran Hall of Fame quarterback. Now, here's the catch, and it's a big one. Rodgers is notorious for not being a fan of the NFL offseason program. In fact, he's gone on the record in the past saying that he doesn't believe in OTAs or mandatory minicamp. He's been vocal about wanting training camp to be the starting point of serious football activity. So when people ask, why hasn't he signed yet? That's the answer. It's not about hesitation. It's not about uncertainty. It's about timing. According to Pelissero and others, the moment Rodgers decides he's ready to show up and start participating, that's when the deal will get done. And if that's the case, we might be looking at late May, early June, maybe even right after minicamp ends. But make no mistake, this thing feels like it's heading in one direction. And if the Steelers do land Rodgers, we're talking about a massive shift in expectations. Now, I know what some people are going to say. Jack, are we sure Rodgers is even going to be better than Rudolph at this stage in his career? And honestly, it's a valid question. Rodgers is not 29 anymore. He's not the same guy who won back-to-back MVPs a few years ago. But what he is a proven winner with one of the most gifted arms the game has ever seen. And when you compare that to a limited option like Mason Rudolph, the upside is massive. Think about what the Buccaneers got out of Tom Brady at age 43. Think about what the Vikings got out of Brett Favre in 2009. That late career spark is real, and Pittsburgh is hoping they can catch a little of that magic themselves. Rodgers has the arm talent, the intelligence, the experience, and yes, the chip on his shoulder to make something special happen. Is it guaranteed? Of course not. But the potential is there, and that's worth betting on. Now, one guy who's definitely in the sign him sooner rather than later camp is none other than Ben Roethlisberger. Big Ben recently spoke out and said that while Rodgers is smart enough to learn a new system quickly, there's something to be said about being on the field with your guys, building that chemistry, learning how your receivers run routes, getting used to the cadence, hearing your voice in the huddle. Those reps matter. That rhythm matters. And if you want to maximize your success, you don't wait until August to start building it. But here's where things get interesting. Because while Big Ben raises good points, there are some misconceptions floating around. For one, people are saying Rodgers would be walking into a completely foreign offense in Pittsburgh. That's not entirely true. Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, is rooted in the West Coast system, something Rodgers has played in his entire career. Yes, there might be tweaks and differences in terminology, but philosophically, it's familiar territory. And two, while OTA participation is nice, it's not the end-all be-all. Training camp is still a full month of intense daily reps. It's more than enough time for Rodgers to build rapport with his new teammates, establish timing, and get in sync with the coaching staff. Would it be better if he came to OTAs? Sure, but if he skips it, it's not the end of the world either. That said, the Steelers have made it clear they prefer to have him in-house sooner rather than later. Owner Art Rooney the same has said as much, and it's obvious the coaching staff is eager to get him acclimated, but they're also willing to wait for a while. According to Mike Tomlin, training camp is the unofficial deadline. If Rodgers hasn't signed by then, that's probably when the Steelers pivot to a plan B, so circle these dates. May 27th, the start of OTAs. June 10th through 12th, mandatory minicamp. And late July, training camp. Those are the checkpoints. And don't be surprised if Rodgers signs shortly after minicamp ends. That way, he avoids the off-season grind and still has plenty of time to prep for week one. Now, shifting gears slightly, let's talk about what this means for the rest of the roster, starting with the wide receiver room. Because this unit, it's evolving fast. DK Metcalf is the clear number one. Big body, deep threat, physical mismatch. He's going to command most of the targets and play that Alpha X role in Arthur Smith's system. Then you've got Robert Woods, the seasoned veteran. He's probably not going to be your go-to guy on third and long, but in early down run-heavy sets, he's going to be out there. Why? Because he can block. Because he's reliable. And because Smith wants that physical presence on the field when the Steelers want to impose their will on defenses. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In the ever-churning world of NFL rumors, the latest speculation surrounding Aaron Rodgers has caught the attention of fans and analysts alike. According to unnamed sources close to the situation, Rodgers reportedly stated that he would never play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, a declaration that, if true, adds fuel to the already fiery discourse surrounding the veteran quarterback's legacy and future in the league. Rodgers, known for both his Hall of Fame caliber play and his sometimes enigmatic off-field presence, has often been linked to various franchises during recent seasons of quarterback turmoil and trade speculation. The Steelers, a team steeped in tradition and desperate to find long-term stability at the quarterback position since Ben Roethlisberger's retirement, have occasionally surfaced as a theoretical destination for aging but still effective quarterbacks. Rodgers, however, appears to have ruled them out entirely, at least if this rumor is to be believed. No official comment has come from Rodgers or his representatives, and the Steelers organization has remained silent on the matter as well. That hasn't stopped fans from speculating wildly on social media, with some Pittsburgh loyalists expressing disappointment, while others shrug off the report as just another media-fueled distraction. This isn't the first time Rodgers has been associated with bold or controversial statements. Throughout his career, he's been candid, and at times cryptic, when discussing his future, his preferences, and his relationships with NFL franchises. While his reasons for reportedly dismissing the Steelers as an option are unknown, some believe it could stem from philosophical differences with the organization, lingering rivalries from his years in Green Bay, or simply a matter of personal preference. Until Rodgers or someone from his camp addresses the rumor directly, it remains just that, a rumor. Still, in a league where player movement and quarterback drama often dominate the headlines, even a whisper from someone like Rodgers can spark a media firestorm. Whether the quote was truly his or just another off-season fabrication, one thing is certain: the NFL quarterback carousel spins on, and Aaron Rodgers continues to be one of its most fascinating figures. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.